What's happening, guys? It's Mike at Mike's Total Dragon Channel. It's a very beautiful May Memorial Day weekend here in North Carolina, so I decided I would sit outside, read some comics for a little bit. I just finished Superman Unlimited #1. This is the first issue of the Dan Slott run, and I gotta say, I got mixed feelings on it. Parts of it I really enjoyed, but the biggest thing for me is you got to stick the landing. To me, if you have a really good comic book or movie or TV show or anything, and the ending is the weakest part of all of it, then it doesn't work for me. And I kind of feel like Superman Unlimited, I kind of feel like this is part of that situation. I enjoyed the way it started. I enjoyed the new, basically the mission statement for the Daily Planet, what they're doing with it now. As you see right here at the start, it says, as of today, we're no longer a major metropolitan newspaper. We're expanding to a media empire, branches in every major city. We'll be overseeing 4 24/7 news channels, fact-checking 3 of the top 5 social media platforms. And this is the new owner. She is a divorcee from the big evil businessman of Metropolis, Morgan Edge. And they just had a big... She's divorced from Morgan Edge, and as part of what she got in the divorce is the Daily Planet. And as she says here, you know, some billionaire ex-wives fight malaria or climate change. I see the greatest danger we're facing is misinformation. And I really like this line right here from Clark Kent. He goes, truth, Mrs. Edge. Here at the Daily Planet, we fight a never-ending battle for truth and justice, which, as we all know, is Superman's, slogan for so long. So I really enjoyed that. And then we start with the rest of the story. You see Clark Kent's hearing, picks up something going on. He takes off to investigate, save the day. And then we have all these different scenes that just show the absolute best of Superman. He stops this carjacking or whatever it was, and the guy says, look, I know you're arresting me or whatever, but that big attack last weekend, one of the people you saved was my aunt, and I really appreciate it. So it's just moments like this where he saves a kid who fell into the lion pit at the zoo, saving the ship that's sinking. Here's this young lady playing a acoustic guitar song. These moments right here are some of my favorite moments in just any Superman comic, not just particularly this one, but in general. Just these, nothing flashy, just Superman being the best version of himself. Then we get to the story. There's a huge meteor crashing towards Earth, and Superman says, this meteor is basically what he thinks is made out of a neutron, which is kind of like, it would kind of be like their version of adamantium, unbreakable. But however, once Superman flies into it, he realizes that only the outside of this meteor is made out of that stuff. The rest of it is kryptonite. So then we get into an origin recap of Superman. He's surrounded by all these kryptonite shards, and he sees that these shards are going to crash down into the Earth, different countries where it's going to land. So he's still got to move the meteor out of the way, even though it is causing him incredible amounts of pain. If he doesn't move it out of its trajectory, it's going to crash right into Earth and destroy all these major cities. And in the midst of that, we get a recap of Superman's origin. Basically his, kind of highlights of him, of his childhood. Him finding out that he's not of this earth. Crypto. Some of his early stuff with Lex. Him meeting the Legion. Just kind of like all the high points of his early life. Coming to Metropolis for the first time. Meeting businessman Lex for the first time. So we get a lot of that. That's basically what the middle of this book is. Kind of like a up to speed of Superman to this point. And then we see Superman. He's trying to stop the meteor, or at least move it off target. Then he wakes up, and then this is where it kind of starts to get away from me. He wakes up and it has been 3 months. So he has been out of the loop for 3 months, and they've had Martian Manhunter filling the role of Clark Kent. And here's the big revelation, is that when that meteor crashed into a state called El Calderio, I'm not sure how that's pronounced. Basically, it flooded the market with kryptonite. And so basically, this would be what vibranium is to Wakanda. This nation here, El Calderio, is the, like it says here, it is the largest supplier of our planet's newest, rarest, and most valuable metal, kryptonite. So it's basically the same concept as Wakanda and vibranium. It has made this small nation, state, or whatever into a new type of, superpower on Earth. And we see Superboy and Supergirl show up, and they're looking pretty banged up. And Superman asks them why, and he said, well, every kryptonite has flooded Earth now. Everyone has kryptonite weapons, kryptonite guns, so we're no longer 100% invulnerable to everything. The battlefield's been leveled a lot more. And then this here at the end is what I really don't like. Superboy says, easy for you to say, big guy, you've got a secret weapon. Wait, you don't know yet? No one's told you? Batman says, no, we haven't told him yet. Spectrometer light on. He snaps his fingers and he says, 3 months ago, a mountain of kryptonite fell on you. It buried you. You should have been poisoned, crushed, and atomized. This is how you survived. So somehow or another, Superman is now, he has this gold shield around him, or his body has been turned into gold, or it's something like that. It's some sort of, it's on his skin, so kryptonite does not affect him, but you can't see it unless you have that spectrometer light on. So I really liked all of this up until this point, and I like everything up to this point specifically, and it mentions it right here. Everything changes. When I first heard that Dan Slott was coming on to Superman, I was really in favor for it, because I had said I didn't think he was going to come on and try and reinvent the wheel, which is, I did not want that. I know Dan Slott is capable of telling great Superman stories, being honorable to the character in its lore, in its history, and all the supporting characters, etc. And that's what this book was until like the last 2 pages of it, in which he introduces this type of thing where this is all the previews for the Supergirl book, which is super good too. But Superman is now some sort of gold person. So I just didn't really like that, and that's not to take away. And of course, I know this is just issue 1, and this is the last page, and issue 2 will explain everything a whole lot more. But this is really just my knee-jerk initial reaction to it. I have faith that Dan Slott is going to do Superman right. He's not going to, make any permanent drastic alterations like Bendis did Bendis came on and made him give up his secret identity. I I can't remember who else it was. Was it Greg Pak that gave Superman solar powers, or some sort of solar flash powers? So I don't think Superman or Slott's going to do anything like that. But this right here, I just, as an older fan, I kind of see it and I'm just like, oh God, why? You know? So if I had to make one complaint about this book, it would be that last page. The previous, all the other pages, all the other 99% of the book, I love so much. It had some of the best Superman scenes. I love the origin recap, all the bullet points of his, you know, his highlights or whatever, but just that last page. So, but of course, that being said, that last page has me wanting to come back next month to see how they do, to see what Dan Slott does with Solid Gold Superman or whatever. But in any case, that is my thoughts on Superman Unlimited, the first issue of the Dan Slott era. So I guess I will have to give my thoughts when issue 2 comes out in a couple weeks or whatever. So till next time, talk to you guys later. Have a good day. Bye-bye.